So everything's all cut out. The only thing I have left here is right at the front of this C-channel on both of them. They just need to be cleaned up a little bit, and then once they're cleaned up, we can get ready to start fitting the C-channel in here. We're going to have to notch it to clear the C-channel, or to clear this C-channel. But to do that, I need to lift this box up. I'm going to get my engine crane. We're going to hook the engine crane up to the back of the box, and we're going to lift it up safely and come up with some type of safe support to keep the box supported, so we can work on it. As you can see, my engine crane is there and buried. We have to dig it out. This is my son's project. He's 7. Somebody gave us an old electric police car, and the police car was actually pretty beat up. It did work. Then the small battery that came with it died, and it was no good anymore. And my son wanted to build a flat deck crane truck, so we salvaged all the pieces, the motor, the steering wheel, and I had some of this 1x1 square tubing. It's a little bit overkill, it's pretty thick, but it's what I had. And he's been cutting it up, and I've been helping him, and he's been tacking and welding it all up. But anyways, that's not for today. Today we gotta dig that out and bring it over here. So we got it up. It's about as high as it'll go. But it's high enough now that I got enough room to work here. So I can clean this face up, grind all this nice and smooth and shiny, and then we can get ready to start fitting the C-channel that goes across here, and then we can start piecing all the rest of the pieces back into it. But before we get to that, we're gonna have to block this up so it's safe. Alright guys, that's what I came up with. So it's just some box tube, triangulated. That's some larger box tube that I cut, and I just left a little bit of the lip on there. That way this can't slide off the frame this way. I got a pivot here, and then on this side I left a large lip. That way it wraps around the C-channel there really well. I also have a chain wrapped around the frame here, and it's caught on the cross member so it can't slide. So if the box decides to come down, it can't slide that way and kick itself out. I also have my blocks of wood back there for safety, and I am going to leave the engine crane hooked up anyways. First thing I've done is I've covered up the window. The owner said he's going to change the glass anyways, but in case he decides not to change it right away, the back one is actually not that bad. I don't want to be the reason for him having to change it if he doesn't want to change it right now. Because we're grinding and welding in such close proximity to the window, any spatter or grinding sparks that fly off there will pit the glass, so I just cover it up just to be safe. Now let's get started on cleaning that up. Alright, all cleaned up now, both sides. Now we're going to move over and we're going to take some measurements. It's 48.5 inches end to end. I'm just going to double check that and verify it, and then we're going to start fitting that piece of C-channel that goes across the front. So I got the C-channel made, notched so it could slide in. What I did was I took a measurement from this frame rail to the other frame rail, which was 33.5 inches outside to outside, and I transferred my measurements onto the C-channel here, and I used my cutoff wheel and I slit right up my 33.5 inches on both sides, and then I gave myself clearance on the inside of that cut to slide over this C-channel. And by doing that, it ensures that this piece will stay centered. So I gave myself no slop left or right. The only place I gave myself clearance was on the inside, so this could slide in. And that'll make sure that this piece stays centered. And I obviously double checked it with measurement, and it is centered. So now my next step is I'm going to measure the height that it needs to be, because as you can see here, let's bring it down here. This is the cross member, and the floor is obviously raised up and sitting on the cross member, so I have to get this C-channel at the same height as that, so when I weld the floor and it's level. So we're going to level that, tack it in place, and once we're satisfied that it's where it needs to be, I'll weld it, and then we can start working on installing this piece, which is going to come right up to here, and then we can start working on the rest. Okay, it's all welded in now. You can see right there, welded on both sides. Next step now is we're going to remove the safeties, and we're going to bring the box back down and raise it up on the hoist so it's at a nice easy level to work at, and we can start making up these pieces here which tie into that front C-channel. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. I'll undo the safety chain first. That's what's holding this homemade support. We'll move around up to the back here, and we'll remove the block of wood. And I got one up on the other side too. We'll just go over here and whenever you're removing these, try to keep your hands out of a spot where if it would come down, they'd get crushed. So now let's bring it down. I've bent myself up a piece of channel to match this piece right here. This is the piece that we're building right now. It's 3 inches, the 1-inch lip on the top, a 3/4 inch lip on the bottom. So now I'm going to go ahead and start trimming the new piece I made to fit in there. So I cut the piece out. I got it laid in there where it needs to be. I just have a small C-clamp holding it so it's flush across the bottom. I've just used a red marker and marked it, and now I'm just going to scribe a line here where I need to trim it. And we'll just keep slowly trimming it back until it fits. There you go, guys. I got it all fitted in, trimmed to where it needs to be. We're going to tack it in place now and fully weld it. For this part, I've decided that I'm going to TIG weld this. Just takes a little longer, but there's way less cleanup, and for me anyways, it does a way nicer job. This side's fully welded in now. I'm going to just dress these welds down. There it is. All cleaned up. Now we're going to head over to the other side. We're on to the passenger side now. I already have my piece bent up, and I think the first thing I want to do is I'm going to put my square up against here, and I'm going to scribe a line that way. This is nice and square, that way I don't have to mess around with trying to fit that. It'll just make my life way easier. And this side will be easier because it's just a straight cut. The reason I jogged that one back was there was some rod over here underneath the floor pan area, and this channel obviously goes up under the floor pan, and I didn't want to disturb that, so that's why I cut back here and then cut it down on the other side to take care of the holes that were here. and not disturb the folded under part that goes underneath the box. I'm just going to mark it here with a marker. Guys, this side's done. I dressed it, sanded it all smooth. That's it for this one. Catch you guys on the next one. God bless.